hello. For those of you that are just joining us, welcome to the Liminal Village. Thank you for being here. This year at Boom, our theme is sacred geometry. And for those of you who haven't quite figured out what that means yet, we have the best possible person on the planet to explain it to us. She is a spiritual teacher, master healer, modern shaman, and former architect. Please help me in welcoming Homaya Amar.
Hello and good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for gathering here and coming. I was doing a little consecration. Most of you probably have seen me sitting here and doing a little prayer because I do not want this, let's say, speech to be a mental speech. I'd like that, I have the intention to do that as a type of an initiation. I started my journey with geometry when I was very young, and I was starting to work as an architect. I was learning architecture and working as an architect for many years. So the connection with geometry was always there, but there was also a level of frustration in me because all the understanding and connection that I had to geometry was mental, and it didn't work well for me until I had the blessing of being initiated, first energetically and afterwards concrete on the physical plane, to the soul of sacred geometry, to the essence of sacred geometry. And with that intention, I come and speak with you today, because I don't want to explain you geometry as a mathematician, because I am not. I'd like to introduce you to geometry as consciousness, because this is who I am, and this is who you are. So please take a deep breath. I'm holding a sacred space for all of us here, and I know that what I'm going to ask now will be a little bit challenging. But those of you who want to have this initiation, I would like you to stand up, and together we do a little bit of clearing our energy. We're going to learn how to clear our energy field, so you can do it now to prepare yourself for this initiation. And then afterwards, during the boom and during your life, you can do that again and again every time you feel that you're going out of your center. So please take a deep breath and stand. And although we do that with our physical body, we are actually moving energy. So I'd like you to feel that from the fingers, there's golden light who's coming from each of your finger. Take a deep breath and create a little net. Put the net beneath your first chakra, and with the intention of clearing your energy field and being open and available, I'd like you to scan your energy field in front of your body. Breathe around the crown, up to your shoulders, and then you shake it. And when you shake it, send the energy to earth, send the energy to the floor. Clean one more time. And we do one more time. Some of you already might feel a little shivery or a goosebump. It means that you're clean, but it's good because we are together. We do all of us 3 times. And whether you're seated or standing, anchor yourself within. We are used to say that we are anchoring ourselves to earth, which is correct, but earth is within you. So really gather all your energies and call upon your energies and gather yourself within. Breathe. And then open up your connection to the spirit, which is always open, but consciously give this initial pulse that you are consciously, gracefully connected. Your spirit is awakened. Your divine nature is awakened. You're here to live. Take a deep breath. Feel the streams of energy that are now passing in your body. Bless them. I'm calling upon our spirit guide. I'm calling upon my lineage, my curanderos lineage. I'm calling upon the angelic vibrations and the pure divine light to be with us. I consecrate and dedicate the fruits and the flowers of this initiation to the divine consciousness, which is perceived as the very essence of our being. And I declare that we are here as love. We are here as peace. We are here as joy. And therefore, in the most natural way, it is permeating and emanating from us to all being on planet Earth, the planet itself, and the entire cosmos. Thank you. Bless you. You may be seated. And I take the applause that were somewhere there as a mirror from the consciousness that we are in tune, that we are synced, that what is happening now and here is in alignment. Everything that is happening in the physical plane is an energetic transmission. It means that when you are speaking, when you are entering a room, when you're shaking someone's hand, it's not about your physical gestures, and it is not about the words that you're using. It is about the energetic transmissions that you are distributing, sharing from your field, whether you are aware of that or not. And please breathe. And I will say, by the way, several times, please breathe. It is for me and for you as well. Because what I'm doing is that I am transmitting to you energies and constellations of energies for you to integrate. And whenever, from one reason or the other, it is a little bit challenging, maybe not even you, someone who's sitting next to you. So our pattern would be that we will close our breath. And then I will, when I feel that the energy is not moving, I will invite you to take a deep breath. So we will be able to invite more light in, to invite more purity in. So in this initiation, what I aim to do, and what I hope we aim to do, because probably we agreed about it before that we're going to meet here, is that I would like to introduce to you the story about the birth of a shape and how shapes are being born and where do they live and what are they made of and how do you play with it. This speech, this initiation would not be linear, although I will do my best to keep it linear so your mind can calm down and surrender more. I will do my best to keep it linear, but I cannot guarantee that it will be linear. What I would suggest you to do again would be to sit as open as you can, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and to breathe. This is your part of the journey. So, when we are doing an energetic transmission, what we are doing is that we're speaking truth. We tend to look at truth as something mental. When truth is mental, it is upon debate. It becomes my truth or your truth. But when truth is a feeling, when it is able to be felt, then it can be emanated, it can be received, it can be sent. If I can speak something and I can tell someone that I love him, but actually I will mean, excuse me, I have 5 minutes to get the train and I cannot stay here too much. And I could say to someone that I love him, and what I will say is that in his presence, I have never experienced this amount of openness and vastness. But the word would be the same words. The feeling, not emotions, the feeling are what count. Those are the transmission of the energy. Take a deep breath. When we transmit an energy, what we actually transmit, we transmit geometry. Because as consciousness, we are formless. We have no way, no definition. There are no boundaries. There's no way to trace us. There's no way to trace it. There's no way to trace that. But the manifested world is full of geometry. For everything that I see in my visible eyes, the story that my mind, my constellation are saying to me is that I'm now sitting on a chair, a stage. There is this rainbow of hot vibrational colors upon me and people. And I got used to describe that. But you all have a shape. I need you as a shape to say that there is a world. You need me as a shape. You need yourself as a shape. Consciousness choose shapes to be able to give birth to itself again and again consciously and know its nature. And please breathe. So this is part of what we see or we know that exists. And I picked up this picture because I feel that in this we can already start seeing how geometry is being born. Geometry is consciousness. Breathe. Pure, subtle motions that are moving in emptiness as space and as time. And from certain reasons, as they move, as this motion is happening, there's some gatherings that starts to happen. There's some, we can say, encounters, although there are no encounters, but there are some encounters, there are some revelations, there are some things are being permeated, some things are being chosen to be expressed. And please breathe. Each of the slides in this slideshow is charged with energy. So please breathe. And when we look at it, we can think that this is the Milky Way, and we can also think that this is our nervous system, and we can also think or believe or convince that those are the galaxies or vibrations of sounds. We need also to accept something in this, let's say, mental part of this conversation, that I will use things like energy or sounds because this is the vocabulary that we have to communicate. But when I'm saying sound, I actually mean that there are vibrations that cannot be seen. Some of them cannot be even heard. We cannot grasp them, but they still exist. They still appear. We are that vibration. That vibration is us. Please breathe. So gradually, from one reason or another, some motion became a flower. Some motion became a planet. Some motion became your mother. Some motion became you. And the way that I live my life is that I take in consideration that my history or their history, my mother or my child, are just one big hologram that I've created as consciousness. A whole big story, including the Bible, and Moses, and Muhammad, and Buddha. All one big story for me to participate in, convinced that this is real. This is how powerful sacred geometry is. Because sacred geometry starts to form itself. It starts to form itself in a very specific way. Breathe. This is not so different from that. Can you agree? Can you agree that this is pretty much the same if you start to look at the star constellations? It's pretty much the same as your heart. It's pretty much the same as your body. Breathe. We just got used to that. We are convinced that this is matter. We are convinced that this is a shape, that it has a sound, there's a voice, there's a feeling, etc., etc. So everything, every motion, every feeling, every thought is a sacred geometry. So if you listen to what I'm starting to emanate also to a space, is that there is a difference from geometry and sacred geometry. Geometry exists everywhere. Sacred geometry exists everywhere. And the difference is your intention, your energy field, your connections. What makes a geometry to become a sacred geometry is that it goes into perfection. The vibration, free floating on space, finding a certain orbit, finding a certain motion, and intentionally, consciously started to form a shape. I adore this picture because looking at it from a human perspective, we can say that there was a bubble and there was a finger, and then the bubble was like my boy is doing with those, like no bubble anymore. But when I look at this picture, I also see the other way around. I see I is each and every one of us. As consciousness, we decided to create perfection. We decided to form something in a perfection way. So geometry, not like any other geometry, is following a certain rules. And the rules are geometry now. This is down to brain. All the edges, all the faces, and all the angles will be completely equal, the same. No question about it. Feel, just open yourself for a split of a moment. How could that be? Like how amazing is that? That from a complete emptiness, we can even say complete chaos, consciousness / light started to gather itself intentionally in a perfect way. Breathe. And this perfect way is how this universe was created. It is how you created your world. As challenging as it is, as sometimes could be hard and like you feel that you're lost and you cannot understand what is happening in your life. You cannot see what is happening here. And as perfect as it is, the moment that you realize that, oh, this is exactly the person, this is exactly the time, I understand something. You formed everything perfectly. Now, there are distortions. It's not that there are not. There are distortions. It could be that from some reasons in your life, as you evolved, some of your geometry, some of your form got hit, we can say. But since the universe, this earth, is always again and again created and creating sacredly in perfection, sooner or later, this pulsation of purity will touch you again. And your entire energy field will remember that this is who you are and this is what you are. And please breathe. Just get the download. One of the things in sacred geometry, every shape that it is sacred, it goes into a sphere in a perfect way. In a perfect way. There's so much spheres that physically manifested in our life. Please breathe. And this is why we're so fascinated with geometry. This is also why when we move into alternate states of consciousness, again, intentionally, consciously or unconsciously and unintentionally, one of the things that we can see is how geometry is starting to break, how the shape is losing itself. We have the memory of the shape because we're here to live it, but we also know that it is always breaking down. Breathe. So at that moment, what I feel is the most important for you to allow yourself to be blessed with, is knowing that you are the one who's constantly emanating this geometry. You are the one who are shaping your life. The Curanderos lineage, the lineage that I've been initiated to about 15 years ago, what the Mexican shaman in this lineage have done, they decoded the shapes. They decoded the colors, because everything that we see doesn't have only shapes, it's also come with a color, right? We see everything with a shape and with a color. And we know not mentally, each color what it means. So we don't see color. It's in physics that we learn that this is color. But our body, our system, we know that there's a free motion of vibration that knows to grow, that knows to evolve. And we call it green. We call it green, but this vibration has this nature to heal us, to transform us. We just say it is green. And sometimes we limit ourselves in that. But we know it is, because in physics is already proven, right? We know that the light that you see, the colors that you see, is a return light, right? Because the rest of the vibrations are disappearing somewhere, and one vibration is coming back to you. If it is return light, so you were the messenger of this return light. And this is how you start to have a conscious communication with divine consciousness, with the superior consciousness, with your true nature, with your essence. Because you can see each and every single moment in your life. Who are you? What have you sent? What is coming back to you? And breathe. With a level of awareness of what is coming back to you, you're able to either digest it, be grateful for that, play with it, take it, as a message. This is a return light. This is the best ever blessing that you could have blessed yourself with. Or you can forget that this is a return light. And then feel that you're overwhelmed with the energy. Feel that you're separated from that. Feel that this is not you. Once you forget that this is you, it will disappear. If you forget that this is you, it will disappear. If you forget, if you cannot recognize that this love is you, it will disappear. So you will be able to form it again. You will be able to shape it again. Breathe. Take that in. I know that it is easier, not so easy sometimes, to speak about it in love and strength. And I know, that this is super challenging when you're going into hard phases in your life, when you lose something. You lose part of you. You lose someone you love. You lose something that you wanted. You feel that you're separated. You feel that you have a bad, horrible mirror from the universe. Someone is, or something. I don't want to elaborate there, you all had us. We all had that. And we can experience that. And we can experience that with the challenge that comes with this experience. But take a deep breath and know within you. Use this sacred space. Use this prayer as we pray here together to recall, to anchor that within you. That even if it is challenging and now you're crying the hell out of you, this is the best thing that can ever happen to you. The best. The best that you could created. This is your training. This is your initiation. This is what you have chosen as consciousness to do, to be able to create more portals inside of you, to be able to live more as space, to be able to live as a creator. Breathe. 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 How are you doing? Are you with me? So, I want to go then deeper. You know, there's no reason why I picked that, but I just love this one. I had to put it in. It's just really beautiful, no? When I was looking at it, I felt like this is really where we're living, you know? This is how creator we are. Because, you know, part of the creator that we are is limited, right? We're limited by living in a body, by knowing that we're walking on earth, by the need of food or sleep, or, you know, part of it is limited. Part of it is unlimited. Unlimited. And for some manifestation, you might need several lives to live. You will be incarnated again and again as consciousness. We will all be incarnated again and again as consciousness. But you can be incarnated in the same body, in the same life, with the same mother, with the same husband, and the same, talking to myself, and the same children. It can happen. But part of the manifestation, you know, we are living in a manifested world. We are living in a thought world, especially those of us who are living in a city. You are going in a car. Who created that car? You go into a house. Who planned this house? You go up the stairs, down the stairs. All mental that took geometry and manifested into the concrete world. From some reason, we cannot see. And I want you to take a deep breath, because this is really essential, especially for boomers who, you know, your consciousness is pretty much open. One of the reasons that I feel that technology is accelerating, one of the reasons that concrete houses, city, cars are accelerating in manifestation is because we're not getting our true nature. We're not getting that we are free. We're not getting that we're alive. We are alive. So what will happen is that we will manifest again and again more and more things to remind us that money is our creation, that the house that we're living in is our creation, that the clothes that we're living is our creation. And you know, the tree is our creation, and the fruits are our creation, and the kiss is our creation, and the smell is our creation. And breathe. Breathe. I love that. Yeah. We have uncountable numbers of eyes. We're convinced we have two. We're actually having one, or we can say one. And we have uncountable numbers of eyes, because I see my life through all of your eyes. And I need your eyes to see my life. I need your eyes to see me. Breathe. Yeah. Consciousness is manifesting in forms. And breathe. Consciousness is manifesting in form, in sacred geometry. And, in a certain moment, when you start playing with sacred geometry, when you start learning sacred geometry, so you can find yourself asking about the Creator, and you can also find yourself asking about the world, about the creation, about the forms. So for a form to be born, for us to see it, for consciousness to speak with us, for consciousness to speak with itself, it is starting with dividing. It is starting with a division. It is starting with allowing a pulsation to have a life of its own. And I don't want to explain that so much mentally. I just want you to breathe the download. This is why the very basic elements all carrying sacred geometry. I remind you, it's a free motion. There's a free movement. We are stardust. Some pieces of these stars started to move in a certain orbit. Now we call it galaxies. But in thousands of years or tomorrow, it could be your star, it could be your baby, it could be you. Now we call it galaxies. After that, it can be another planet that will be discovered. And we know that motion. We live it. First, because we are on this, let's say, planet, on this spaceship, who constantly moving in space, right? We're like in a huge spaceship, moving in a certain orbit, and also round and round itself all day long. We know that. We know because everything is happening like that. The way, you know why our blueprint is looking like it looks like it looks? Why does it look like galaxies? Why? Have you asked yourself why? When I was pregnant, I was asking myself, how could it be? And then what I discovered is that the water in the womb are also moving, exactly like the oceans, exactly like the seas. And like you're going to a shower, right? You go to a shower and you start to have your hands like that. So when we are in our womb, what is happening to us is that we start to form this memory of how galaxies are working, how the entire world is performing. Breathe. Yeah. Yeah. This is why we love crystals. This is why we love seashells. Because they remind us, they allow us to align again to our own orbit, to the free motion that we choose to take on ourselves. Yeah? Isn't it beautiful? Why are we so fascinated from nature? Why? We are nature. Look at that. Isn't it amazing? This is also your eyes. Those are also your cells. But I'd like you also to know this is also your generosity. This is the shape of your generosity. This is the shape of your gratitude. This is the shape of your revelations. This is the shape of your joy. And this is also the shape of your sadness. And some things really took the perfection. They are still living the perfection. Breathe. Yeah. I don't want to go so deep to the flower of life here, because as I love to say, this is a whole class by itself. But just I'd like you to breathe the download here. And for a reason, I didn't put a perfect flower of life. Because as we're speaking, and as we are in this space, we are creating portals inside of us to invite the perfect sacred geometry to live again in our space. And I was speaking with Chiara, I don't know where she is now, but she said, well, you're going to speak on the first day. And I said, okay, if I speak on the first day and everything is about sacred geometry, better the people will have a straight sacred geometry. Because you will see sacred geometry everywhere. You see sacred geometry everywhere. At least you know what it is. Yeah. So everyone. How many knows the relation between sacred geometry and matters, like the elements? Can you raise your hands? Okay. I have some things to say then. I had a feeling that you will already know that. Yeah. Who said wow? Yeah, this is how we become biologically like the flower of life. Isn't it amazing? It's incredible. This is how cells starts to live. Breathe. I just can sit like that with this behind me all day long. Yeah, this wisdom. Yeah. So I need to say a few words about flower of life. The flower of life is the transcript, the code, the physical code seen as two-dimensional, the seen two-dimensional code of the multi-dimensional process of consciousness giving birth to itself as a form. And please breathe that in. The flower of life, you can see part of it here. If you trace the centers of each center in the flower of life, if you trace the center, what you have is something that is named a Metatron star. Now the Metatron star, viva! The Metatron star is already second step of communicating and starting to give direction of the shape to take a specific shape. Because when it is just the flower of life, when it is just the Metatron star, it is holding all the codes of creation. But gradually, in the Metatron star, we can start seeing different shapes. And I remind you, sacred geometry shapes is perfect, must be perfect. Yeah, breathe. Breathe, there's a download here. Beautiful. I want you to remember that because I would like to speak about that afterwards. Just remember that. this slideshow is to explain how consciousness is actually manifesting the physical plane, the actual thing as you manifest. Breathe. Yeah. So I said we can go in this conversation now to speak about consciousness, and we can go to speak about the elements that is created, that the consciousness is creating, that physical world is created with. We know the elements. We know earth, right? Fire, ether, water, and air. We know that from one reason or the other, this reality is based on this foundation, that everything that finally took a shape, the matter decided to compose itself as one of those elements. Breathe. You can take that as an element. You can believe and think that earth is earth, which is earth, and water is water, which it is. You can relate to air as air, fire, fire, ether, ether. But you can also understand something super important. Those are states of consciousness. The same that we call green, green. But actually it is vibrating. The vibration of something that grows, that have a nature to heal, right? We call earth, earth. But this is actually a state of consciousness. Specific state of consciousness. And I'm starting to emanate into this energy field the shapes that I'm talking about. And I'd like to share with you, I'm teaching that maybe 14 years or something like that. It is almost inevitable. If someone will speak about geometry, I give initiation. Yeah? So there's so many geometries, but we have several that are the foundation. So the first one, which is the heaviest, and you might feel heavy. You might feel heaviness in your body. The first one is a cube. It's heavy. It's dense. And the cube represents earth. And the thing with earth is that it's a sacred space in the sense that whatever comes in doesn't come out. Breathe. Whatever happened on the planet Earth stays on the planet Earth. Do you know this? You know, when you go to spiritual classes or like coaching seminars, they say, whatever happened in this room stayed in this room. Hey, whatever happened in this room stayed in this room. Whatever happened to you on the first chakra and second chakra in the physical plane, stay in the physical plane. And consciousness and planet Earth are wise enough to deal with it. It's not that we're not supposed to take care of it. We are. But we don't need to save it. Actually, rather, respect it. It knows, it takes care of you, you know, it feeds the physical body. So a cube means that all the energies that gathered in that place stay there. And the sensitive people in you here will feel a little bit heaviness. Sometimes people feel the heaviness, sometimes people feel the heaviness as I'm moving into the next shape. And by the way, this is your initiation. The way that my master initiated me. It happens from my energy field to your energy field. Breathe. And then I'll feel how the energy in the space is moving. And you might feel that there's a certain lightness. And you know, breeze was here before, but I didn't feel it so much as I feel it now. Am I the only one, or can you feel the breeze? Yeah, the breeze is now more present because we moved from a consciousness of rigidity and stiffness and limitation into a consciousness, an etheric consciousness, an open consciousness. This shape is named dodecahedron, and I mean this shape. Those are here for your download to be easy to digest. But this above is named dodecahedron. And dodecahedron is the representation of the ether. The ether is what was, is, and will be. And I need you to breathe, because some of you now, we call it processing. I need you to breathe. Some of you now are processing a lot, so please, everyone, together with me, take a deep breath. And exhale. And feel your body, because your body is the bridge of this consciousness. Feel your body. Then we have an octahedron. The octahedron has the consciousness that represents the element of air. And again, I invite you to feel the energy in the space. I'd like you to feel your field of consciousness. I'd like you to feel how it feels inside of you. Air carries the wisdom of carrying something from one place to another. It carries thoughts, emotions, feeling, ideas, concepts, essences of life. It carries you. It carries the planet. It's a carrier. It is a carrier that knows the path. It's a carrier that knows the divine path to take you exactly in the exact time, in the exact place to where you are supposed to be. And breathe. Feel this is air. And then we go into this shape up above, which I adore. It is named icosahedron. And breathe. Icosahedron is made of, physically, if you look at it from outside, it's 20 triagonals. This is an icosahedron. But it is a constellation of the essence of water. Icosahedron is carrying the essence of water. And again, feel yourself. Feel how it feels now in your body. Feel how it feels in your energy field. Feel if you have more awareness to your saliva. Feel if you think that, I need to pee. Feel if you feel that there's more humidity. See, we're not feeling any air now, but we do feel the humidity. You can call it that it happened. But no, we're all tuned into a certain specific geometry. We are all tuned into specific field of consciousness, of water. And we start feeling, do we feel humidity? Breathe. Because we are tuned into icosahedron, and what we have here more than water is the humidity. And some of you might feel, I really need to drink now. Because in the presence of icosahedron, we're more aware of our liquid. We're more aware of what we are made of as liquid. But it's not the end. Because part of it is what we drink and how we are. Yeah? And part of it is actually the consciousness of water. And what is the consciousness of water? It's the memory of multidimensionality. It's this amazing wisdom of knowing how to go to all directions. We are limited, we're limited in being in the body, but water knows to evaporate, knows to travel, knows to change into liquid, knows to go down, right? Knows to go down as a rain, know to even how to become an ice, like to go back into a solid. There's so much wisdom. So much wisdom, and this is one of the reasons that we need to drink again and again this wisdom that comes from superior heavens. I want you to breathe a little bit. I hope you can get that. But the reason that it is manifested as elements, for example, as water or air or earth, is that it exists in a different shape in higher realms, in the heavens above. Take a deep breath. Yeah. Good. And then the last one, which is a little bit challenging, and I hope I'm not going to stay here for long, but it has a very important teaching. The last one is a tetrahedron. And the tetrahedron carries the element, that is the last element, which is the element of fire. And breathe. And can you start feeling that more than thirsty and more, you start feeling hot. It is now hot, Homaya. Before you made that cold, now it is hot. What are you doing? I'm not doing it, you're doing it. It's consciousness doing it. The reason that you're feeling hot now, or you are more aware of the heat, is because what is running now in space is the tetrahedron. And the tetrahedron is carrying the energy of fire. And the one who have learned with me, we are rarely using the tetrahedron. Because as consciousness, as manifested consciousness, we are rarely using the tetrahedron. And if we look ourselves as humanity, not so long we started to use the fire. So if you ask yourself as humanity what you're able to create, understand that there is a certain moment in the linear time that fire was introduced to humanity. We're now living in a consciousness that accepts to integrate 5 main elements. And this is the era that we're living in. But we don't know what will happen in the future. We don't know what element will be introduced to us. We don't know how it will be introduced to us. But the same that we were human before we were able to play with fire, it's the same that we're going to be human before we will able to play with town. You tell me in our next meeting. Who knows? Breathe. Breathe. So how do we emanate that? And what do we do? We are, without thinking of it, we are creating, as consciousness, we created order. We created order, and by creating order, we allow space to expand. Are you able to take that still in? Because I'm really getting advanced here. Tell me. Thank you. So, we created order. We actually created the cubes. We invented the cubes, our consciousness. We created the planet Earth as consciousness. We created order and limitation, so we will be able to expand even more, and we will be able to know our nature even more in this platform. And the Curanderos lineage that I'm part of is defining that as grids of consciousness. I had a conversation with some of my students a few days ago, and we were talking. This is a little bit prejudgment, excuse me, but we were talking the Israelis are like that, and the Italians are like that, and the Portuguese are like that. Why is it like that? Because there's some energy field that was already stagnated enough, whether we like it or not. Like you were stagnated to become a body, there's a certain energy field that is stagnated enough, and then you develop your language, the Italian language or the Israeli language, or you develop a certain type of thinking or a certain way to express your emotion. Whether it is an individual experience or it is a cultural experience or it is a human experience. But all of that, all that you feel, all that you think, all that you create, all that you manifest, it is grids of consciousness. Those are constellations of energies of consciousness. You are doing it until now unconsciously. You can increase your awareness towards that and start doing it consciously. You can learn what are all the shapes. You can learn how to emanate that from your energy field. You can learn what each and every one of the colors means, and you can learn how to create grids of consciousness, which means that you can choose to emanate something else to the world, something else than what usually you've emanated until now. If what you emanated is some relationship that didn't last, that were not going forward, that from some reason stopped again and again, or if you manifested until now some sabotage, some self-sabotage, when you start to align yourself with appropriate energy, with a sacred energy, you can gradually detach, gradually or miraculously, because we're available for miracles to happen, you can detach from that consciousness and align yourself with the consciousness that you consciously would like to create, with the life you consciously would like to create. And this is how the grids works. Breathe. I cannot explain it too much. And I'd like actually in that moment, I think I put here a slideshow to tell you, here, this is a grid I wrote for you. Breathe, to integrate this initiation. There's several grids here, grids of consciousness. Breathe. And feel the energy coming to you. This is another grid for you to be able to be open to blessings. There's another grid of There's another grid here for you. I do not want to say the name. Breathe. Now, when you look at it, just for a split of a moment, look at each other and look at the space and tell me if you see that there's more light in the space. Tell me if you're able to see that there's more light in the space, that people are actually radiating. And breathe. Yeah, look at the grids. Take that in. And breathe. Yeah. That is a grid I wrote before I knew I was going to come to the boom. It was a little prayer because it's a strong energy field. It's better to use it. Breathe. So the beautiful thing is that when you write consciousness grid, when you write grid with consciousness, there's several types of grids. I don't want to explain it to so much, but you can aim to a specific date. You can aim to a specific outcome. And remember the slideshow that I told you? Remember this slideshow? The thing is that once you created your conscious grids of consciousness, once you were able to homeopathically write your prayer, then your mission is to send it to the universe and to let it come back to you. There's a whole coaching realm, The Secret, and I know there's several other, that you manifest reality by pulling in energy. It's like you're using your mind to manifest reality, which is possible and limited at the same time. The way that we create reality, once we become aware to sacred geometry, is that we emit intentional prayer. Like the time that we go into space and emit joy. or care, or beauty, or grace. We consciously create it, we send that to the universe, and we let the universe come back, send it back to us. We let consciousness speak back to us. We're there, we're open hands, and we see what comes back. But we know because consciously we created that. Whether it will be challenging or easy, it's just the gift coming back for us to integrate. Whether we are with our open hands to receive and work with it. And breathe that. Those are the elements. This is the ether, knows how to give birth. And I'm not feminine or masculine. Both are giving birth. Breathe the air. And here, I'm not emanating any energy. See, I can go back, forward. I'm not emanating any energy. Something happening in the space? Nothing. Bring awareness to that. This is the way that you function. I'm not doing it because I have something special. I'm the same like you. We're completely the same. Breathe. Yeah. So geometries go more and more evolved, and each constellation, each let's say orbit, each gathering of energy carries a certain wave, a certain message. When I learned that for the first time, I felt like, oh, finally I meet all my brothers and sisters, because I was architect for so long. I really loved the shape, but then I learned light language, and I was like, oh, finally, they came to play with me. Yeah. There's grids for you here to take. Breathe. And one of the things that we created for you is that in my website, I'm doing a little bit of promotion. I hope you can digest that as well, which is homaya.org. If you do /LLboom, we also have flyers. We have flyers here, so we can actually, afterwards, maybe Pepino, you can come and have the flyers here. And there's my assistant. Can you raise your hand again? Elisa and Darshana is here. So you can have the flyers where you have this a link, we can say. And what I've created there for you are grids of consciousness for 3 things. 1, manifesting creativity, because I have the sensation that the boomers are creative. 2, aligning with your soul contract, because I feel that there's nothing more important than that, than living your purpose. And the 3rd one is abundance consciousness. Thank you, Spirit. This is my lineage. This is the Spirit blessing that to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. This is my master. Soon you're going to see her. Here it is. Her name is Star Fuentes. I adore her. Yeah. Those are more grids of consciousness. Simply breathe them in. Those are grids that she wrote. She gave me the permission to share that with you. Those are master's grids. Those are master grids of consciousness. Breathe. Thank you, lineage. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you. Oh, this is for Chiara. Where is Chiara? I don't know where she is, but she said, where is she? Chiara, This is for you. Because she said, in the Liminal village, she said to me, it's not only about sacred geometry. I really want that people will realize that they're active. And I said, well, they're going to see that they are creating their reality, they are creating the manifested world. But I also add a conscious grid of consciousness for a compassionate politic, because what do we need, We need some compassionate politics. Yeah, breathe. And a little Buddha. Yeah, so this is, back to commercial, this is the link. You can either write it or take a flyer, which we have here, or with my assistants. Or give your email and we will send it to you. And yeah. We were stretching time so much to give you this download in 1 hour and 15 minutes. It's like the impossible is possible. Yeah? Da 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 da. Yeah. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being an active part. I know that there's a reason, and this is not spiritual shit talk. I know that there's a reason that your soul called my soul to be in this presence and to hold that space. I do believe that this is a signal of change. I do believe that what we have done in the last 1 hour and 15 minutes is a seed of light in your consciousness. And I know that it will bloom. And I know that it will flourish. And I know that you will embody your Creator. And I'm happy to know that. And I invite you to stay in contact. I invite you to write me. I invite you to tap in whatever way. Social media, I'm pretty active. Or just reach. I don't know if they invited me to have 15 minutes for Q&A. I would like to do something like that. I'd like first to close the energy. So Q&A could be sometime mental. I don't want that. I want consciously to close your energy field for integrating this initiation. I bless you. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for geometry. I'm grateful for this life. I'm grateful for the teaching. I'm grateful for the revelation. I'm grateful for this lineage. I'm grateful for each and every one of my masters and my masters' masters. I'm grateful for being alive. Take a deep breath. Thank you also for those guys here and for Chiara for inviting me and everyone who supported that to take place. And I'm available for any sharing or questions. Please.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much.
I'm going back to the first third of your presentation in the sense that each one of us creates physical reality. As far as I understand, this is a digital reality that each consciousness, individual consciousness, projects into their own reality. In a sense, being a multiplayer game. So, for example, I create my own reality, but there's also other realities.
It's in your reality. The other realities are in your reality.
Now,
breathe.
Yes. This is, you pinpointed this. Can you elaborate a little more? Just like...
Why to elaborate? This is as it is. The fact that there are other realities, it's in your reality. It's part of your reality. The fact that there are other realities are also in your reality. Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you. Enjoy that. Enjoy. It's a great thing.
Hi. Hello. Hello. Oh. Thank you.
Welcome. My pleasure.
I have a question relating to group dynamics.
Yes.
I might make an assumption that people have sacred geometries that come out of them, and there might be certain shapes that are dominant. I wonder if you could shed some light on how these things interplay when groups come together.
Yeah. Remember when I was saying that there's a motion like galaxies form? This is the same. So when there is a dynamic, you can say, of a group, they are still forming together. There's a dynamic of a group with your fingers. They are forming together. You just, it is easier for you to know that this one is the one that types, and those are the other that hold. Or maybe, this one is the one that goes here, and this one goes that. Yeah, and this one goes. But each one have his work, but they're all performing as one. Don't look at it as other people. Look at it as organs on your body. One is a heart. The other one is a liver. The third one is an eye. There's no more or less. They all work together and they're moving like the galaxies are moving. For the appearance of it, one might appear as a heart and the other might appear as an eye. Yeah? But they're all, like this, they are all performing one geometry. Yeah. Breathe. When you are concerned about relationship, whether that is your relationship with your partner or a group dynamic or your relationship with humanity, probably what is happening is that your own sacred geometry is not stable inside of you. And your own form, the way that you form yourself, the way that you surrender to your uniqueness and your beauty is longing to evolve. That the way that it is happening is still longing, it's still it's forming itself. Yeah? Which is good, because there's a supernova in your future. Okay? Breathe. Thank you. Yeah.
How do you actively manifest sacred geometry to improve your life or to evolve?
Have you seen how I've done it?
Well, I missed the first 20 minutes. So I don't know.
Well, the way that I do it is exactly the same that you are doing it. The difference is that I run my vehicle. So I take decision, awareness, or I surrender to a certain form that want to be emanated. But you're now, for you to speak, for you to feel, you're emanating a certain form or constellation of form. The examples that I constantly give is, did you have this experience that you're in a room, everything is wonderful, and suddenly someone is entering into the room, and then it's like, oh, it's like the energy is like collapse, everything is like, zzz, like, or the other way around. You're in a room, you know, everything is like, and then someone is entering the room and it's like, wow, what is happening here? Yeah, we can call it a charisma, you can give it a name. But this person is emanating a certain vibration. He's emanating constellation of energies. Yeah, you're doing it. When you're expressing your heart, when you're sharing your thoughts, this is what you're doing. The difference is whether you are aware or not. You choose it or not. And choosing is awareness in action. I feel that the path to realization, the path is choosing with awareness, constantly choosing with awareness. And breathe.
At which institute or university do you teach?
I teach in the university named Life.
Yeah. Second question. I'm reading a book called The History of Creation from Kabir. And in the book it's written that all living beings are made of the 5 elements. And the plants, per example, are made out of 1 element. And beings born in the water are made of 2 elements. Born out of eggs, 3 elements. Mammals, 4 elements. And the human made of 5 elements.
Mm-hmm.
And in the book isn't written out what element plants are exactly. Do you know?
The plants.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you were asking what university I teach, I answer Life. Not that you cannot come and learn with me. I just don't teach in a university. I teach in my energy field, I teach in my classes, so you can come and learn. But following your second question, I don't know if you've been in the beginning of my speech. Yeah? So one of the things that I said is that I'm here to generate something in your energy field. And I find the book that you're describing beautiful, and I actually would like to read it. But I cannot dance that dance. Because that dance will limit my living knowledge. The way that I teach is that I'm emanating to the space something, and then the truth is recognized within you. Not because I said that, because your cells, your consciousness said, yeah, I know that, I can feel that, got it. Yeah? So I do invite you to dive in my website and to send me emails and to come and learn. So you learn through your body, you learn through consciousness, you learn through living. The topic of this conversation was the interface between divine consciousness and human. This is life, this is this interface. You learn from that. The book is a guidance, is a memory, is something that your spirit guide put next to your bed, so you will open up a little bit more. I invite you to read the book and keep the pages white. I actually invite you to write your own book. And breathe. You're living your Bible, any case.
Homaya, thank you for the initiation. That
Welcome.
was wonderful.
Welcome.
Very clear, very clean, very beautiful,
Thank
very
you.
well emanated. Thank you. I think what it comes down to, because we are so mental, is to make it practical without it being mental. And you gave me the experience now of centering on the basic 5 Platonic solids. That was well transmitted, thank you. My next question is, how do I learn to use those as a reference point to find my center within every second? And as the sub-question, is there one center point that I should work primarily with, i.e. the Metatron, etc., or is it about finding out in the moment what shape is being emitted by myself to myself and working with that? So the question is it a logic, keep focusing on this shape and structure, or is it a flow and learning to flow with all the structures simultaneously?
Yeah, so center exists, core exists, center exists. What I'm doing when I'm teaching light language, first I'm teaching it in phases, so I'm not bombarding you too much, because it wouldn't do anything if your physical body would not be able to integrate that. If your life will not be able to integrate, you will not be able to integrate that in life. So I gradually teach you, and what we do is that through the initiation in class, we put all the colors, let's say, in the appropriate place in your consciousness, and we put all the shape in the perfect way in the appropriate place in your consciousness. And then you start to play. And your next question will be an answer that will arouse inside of you according to your life journey. And it is completely okay with me that I will say that there is one center and you will say that there is 5. Because if this is where your evolution of consciousness is taking you, this is what there is. But the ABC of the manifested world is get the shapes done, get the colors done, and start playing consciously with that. Stop believing that this is really a person, that someone is saying something to you and then you get hurt or whatever, you know. Believe me, I'm crying a lot. But I also work with that. Okay, so whatever is happening, you are working with. And in the beginning, you might need to work on some things that are basic, you know. You might need to work on your occupation, your relationship. But sooner or later, as you will continue to work with sacred geometry, sooner or later, you will play as consciousness. You learn to hold the space. You see that you are all creation. I'd like to thank you, beautiful people. Thank you. Enjoy the fest.
Thank you so much, Homaya. Thank you so much for planting this seed into so many consciousness. We will all witness each other flourishing in that
Thank you,
during the next
beautiful.
7 days.
Thank you.